Hello, I'm Jack Cox, author of Love Not Fear, and I'm here today with my usual co-host, Paul Simon Smith, who
Hello.
runs the Nutrient Nirvana supplement company. So I apologise to everybody for our late start, but we're here now. So what sort of week you had, Paul?
Pretty good, mate. To be honest, I'm very busy with work and stuff, which is good. I've given up bread this week. I just thought I'd share that with you. I've given up bread for 30 days, but I might go back to it. But if I do go back to bread, it will be bread that I make myself.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see how I'm going to feel after the 30-day period, because a lot of people have reported that if you give up bread for 30 days, you feel fantastic at the end of it. So we shall see.
We shall see. I cut right back on bread a while back. If I go for an Indian, I'll still have some naan. And very, very occasionally I'll have a roll with my pint. But apart from that, I don't have any bread anymore now. Right, so let's crack on, shall we? Because we've got quite a lot to do today.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to be reading from a document that somebody sent me. In fact, Paul, can you do the comments, because I won't be able to see the screen. Just read it. Any comments?
So we've got a comment, Jack, but unfortunately, I think it's because you're hosting. I can see the comments, but I can't put them onto the screen myself.
Oh, hang on. Talk amongst yourselves, folks. We'll get them eventually.
Hello, Kim Kingston Turner. Good
Oh,
evening.
Kim. Hello, Kim.
I finally got here. Good to see you, Kim. Thanks for joining us.
Well, we owe Kim a great debt of thanks, because she was the lady who sent me this document.
Okay.
So thank you, Kim. As I say, I'm not going to be able to actually see the comments while I'm doing this. So
well, I can read them out, Jack. I just can't put them on the screen.
Okay, yeah, that's good enough. That's good enough. So the document is called The New Normal, a Civil Society Deception by Brian Davis. And I'm going to go through it a little bit like we did that other document before, and have you comment as we go along, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Hang on, it's saying no sound detected. Why is it saying no sound detected?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I know, but this bloody thing isn't hearing me. Okay.
Hello, John Waterfield. Before you get going, Jack, John has commented. We started eating much more bread recently, and both developed stomach pains, so we're cutting back. Yeah, it's very dangerous stuff now, mate. Unfortunately, it's not the bread that we had even 20, 30 years ago. You know, the wheat's hybridized. It's heavily sprayed with glyphosate. The supermarket bread contains bromine, which I think is called potassium bromate or something like that, which does not agree with our systems at all. So yeah, it'd be an interesting time. I'm giving it up for 30 days just to see how I feel at the end of it, and if I feel good, I'll probably stick to it as well. So
yeah. So hello, John. Great to have you here, mate. Right, let's get on with this document. Representative democracy is, hang on, my auto cue's not working now.
Did you memorize the document, Jack?
Oh yeah, word for word, mate. Yeah. Now I'll tell you, we're only going to go through about 10% of it today because it's a massive document. So representative democracy is quietly being phased out to be replaced by a new normal. This new normal Oh, this is going much too slow. Hang on, I've got to find a way of speeding this up. I'm not experienced with auto cue, so please just bear with me. Anyway, this new normal is a new form of governance being referred to as the civil society. And we'll talk more about that a bit later on. Have you heard of civil society, Paul, in this context?
Vaguely, possibly, yeah.
It's founded upon the principles of I can't even pronounce it, communitarianism.
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
And it's being offered to us as an oh, come on, auto cue. I'm really sorry about this. I've got to find a better way of doing this. As an illusionary replacement for democracy, for representative democracy. I've got to find a way of speeding this up. I'm really, really.
By the way, I just should say, Jack, that Mallee has just commented.
Yeah.
I can be with you for a short time as I am with family. Bless you, Mallee.
Oh, great, Mallee. Thank you very much. Yes, family always comes first. We're honoured to have you here. Please chip in with anything you want to say, including why your order.
While you're sorting that out, Jack, I'll just read out a comment from John Waterfield, who has said that communitarianism means doing what you are told by the authorities in the interest of the supposed greater good of the greater number.
Absolutely, John. Absolutely.
Wasn't this communitarianism? Wasn't that the movement? I think that Russell Brand was kind of talking about a lot, maybe 2 or 3, 4 years ago.
Yeah, he was heavily into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What they want to do is to find a new way of setting worldwide policy agenda. And the manipulation of the concept of civil society as a means to achieve their ambitions. We know what we mean by there. I'll go on a little bit later to talk about the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab and his Great Reset and all that lot. This is at odds with how many emergent civil society groups how they see things and what they want. It's how it's at odds with the way that they understand their allocated role. The whole concept isn't bad, it's just been hijacked. Set against the background of a corporate global state, so we're talking globalism here. In this article, we would explore, this is the article I'm reading from, we would explore the exploitation of communitarian civil society. I'm going to put my teeth back in. And consider the evidence. Right, I can't do this. It's ridiculous. It's just not working. I want to talk about. I'm going to close this and just talk off the top of my head because we're not getting anywhere with this. The idea was thought of. The term was coined by this gentleman, Untitled Chapter, who's actually an American, not an Italian. and I'm doing this from memory now because I'm not reading from the script, but back in the 60s, I think, or maybe the 70s. And it was a way of trying to wrestle some power away from overbearing governments. That was the theory. And I think most of us would go along with that as being a good idea. But Klaus Schwab and his lot came along, and this goes back to, it's not a new thing. This goes back to hang on, I'm doing this from memory, so please bear with me. Kofi Annan, back in 1999, addressed the UN and proposed this idea of having this this three-pronged approach to governance, with national governments, these civil society groups, and this is where it all goes crazy, big corporations.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Klaus Schwab has jumped on. And back in 2019, I think it was, he negotiated with the UN to be part of the deal. So it's official now. The World Economic Forum are now partly running the show. And they represent the 1,000 biggest companies in the world, biggest corporations, including Pfizer and Moderna, and several others, lots and lots of others, all the household names that you can think of. So is it any surprise that this present situation, which is now morphing into the next current situation, we'll wait to see what that is, has been in lockstep worldwide? Because these clowns, through the UN and the World Health Organization, which of course Bill Gates is also a big part of, have been orchestrating the whole thing. And I really would have liked to have gone into much more detail, and I'm really, really sorry. Maybe we can pick this up another time when I can get the auto cue to work properly. But I will put a link below in the description to the whole article, and you can read it for yourselves. So what can we do about it? Now, before we get into that, I've got an illustration here, if you can read it, of how it's all supposed to work. The policymakers, the policy distributors, which of course we're talking about the media mainly, and these people own all the media, control all the media. The policy enforcers, which is basically the police, although more and more the governments, the supranational governments, are trying to get the military involved. And the policy subjects, you and me, who are just supposed to swallow all this BS and just go along with it. So what can we do to stop it? This is the main thing I want to talk about tonight. So find out who the companies are that's involved. And as I say, it's all the biggest companies. It's every household name you've ever heard of. It's Amazon, it's ExxonMobil, it's all the media companies. They're all in on it. The banks. This is really what I talked about in my first book, Rupert Murdoch's Hitman, about how the globalist elite are in bed with Big Pharma and the military-industrial complex and the world governments, the national governments, the supranational bodies, the police, the courts, to ensnare us in their web of lies. Please do read this document. I'm going to put a link to it below. I'm sorry I couldn't read it out tonight because it really goes into the details. It dots the I's and crosses the T's. I think you got that the wrong way around. And one of the big players, well, there's Klaus Schwab. One of the big players is Larry Fink. Now, Larry Fink is the CEO of BlackRock. And BlackRock is an asset management company that's heavily involved with all these big companies that we're talking about, all these big corporations.
Yeah, we've just had a comment, Jack, from John Waterfield, who has said
John.
they are all owned by Vanguard or BlackRock.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's also said, Jack, that the WEF, the World Economic Forum, has a formal agreement with Denmark to help the country move into the fourth industrial revolution, possibly with other countries now as well.
Yes, that's right, John. And they also have a formal agreement now, with the United Nations. They've got it stitched up. I mean, I talk about what we can do about this. I can understand people saying there's nothing we can do about it. It's a total stitch up. They're bigger than we are. But just think about one thing. Just consider one thing. All these huge multi-million pound, multi-million dollar, multi-million euro trillions. I mean, BlackRock, I think, controls something like 9 trillion, bigger than most countries. Where do they get the money from? Ultimately, they get it from you and me, who use their goods and services. So if we can boycott these companies, these big corporations, and I'll put certainly not an exhaustive link, but a short link to some of the big ones down in the description. And just think, if you can remember back to the lockdowns, which ones stayed open? Which big chains stayed open and which chains closed? Now, you've got to be suspicious about that. I've been suspicious about that. Just look which one. I'm not talking about the corner shops. I'm not talking about the what the Americans call the mum and pop businesses. I'm talking about the big chains. If we stop giving them money, if we spend our money with the independents, not the big retail chains, but the independent companies, the local independent companies, then we can bankrupt these big corporations. The bigger they are, the harder their fall. But it's got to be a coordinated effort. And then, which is really what my latest book, Love Not Fear, was all about, or a good part of it was about. It's about building a new grassroots economy and society based on love and generosity instead of on meanness and money and bean counting.
Jack, can I just read out a comment?
Yeah.
Now, this one's come from Brigitte, and she says, from information I had access recently on other platforms, those have been arrested at the top. However, their minions are still implementing the orders they had received and being paid for.
Now, maybe if you've got any information on that and you can send it to me, not for this show, obviously, but
I think she was saying that she was going to come on, Jack. Brigitte, if you send her the link, she can come on for a short period.
Can you? Oh,
Well,
that'd be fantastic.
I think that was the gist of her message, yeah.
Oh, if you want to, I'll send you the link now. Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send you the link now.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering if Brigitte there is talking about some rumours that have been circulating for several months now regarding some very powerful people being arrested and taken to Guantanamo Bay, where they've been tried, and allegedly some have been executed. I'm very uncertain about that. I've kept up to date with that story, but there's just the way I see it is there's no way of being able to verify that information. So it's could be true, could maybe not. Who knows? We've got a message here from Keith Jackson. Keith has said, "We have to do something about it, or we will be controlled in every part of our lives by robots. We will be chipped and we will own nothing."
That's what they want. Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. We've got a message here from Kim, who says, "Sorry, but no one has been arrested yet. It is claimed they have been, but we have yet to see the evidence of it," which is what I was just saying. "I hope they have, but I don't think so. Smoke and mirrors, my friends." Very possibly. You could well be right there, Kim.
Right, Brigitte, I've just sent you the link. It's addressed to Paul. I've just copied and pasted what I sent to Paul earlier. So if you want to come on, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Whether they have or whether they haven't, I think it's only a matter of time.
Fingers crossed.
Well, it's got to happen, hasn't it? I mean, there's a limit to what we can say on here because I don't want to get this channel closed down, especially on YouTube where I've already got one strike against me. But the crimes against humanity that were committed over the last couple of years, heads are going to have to roll for that.
Definitely. Are we talking about people like Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates, or are we talking about the people that control those characters, the people at the very top of the tree? I'm talking about the big families that control the world.
The problem there, Paul,
they're the problem. There's only one problem with the world as far as I see it, Jack, and that's that there's a group of psychopaths running the world. If you remove them, it would be a lot better.
Absolutely. The thing is, the people at the very, very, very top. I mean, there were people even above the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, and we're never going to find out who those people are.
But then, if that's the case, then Jack, then that kind of means that there's not a lot of hope, because if we can't eradicate the world of those people that have been behind all of this, that are ultimately responsible for all this, I don't see how we can get rid of the problem.
Right, you imagine the typical pyramid that we're shown.
Yep.
With the ones at the very, very top, and the ones at the very, very top above them that we'll never know about. And maybe we can aim for them. Maybe we can. Maybe we'll take some of them. Maybe we'll take some of the ones one echelon down or two echelons down. We might be able to get some of them. But the whole caboodle depends on us putting our money into it by buying their goods and services. So the whole pyramid can collapse if you take away the bottom. You take the stones from underneath it. And that's what I'm suggesting that we do. I think we're wasting our time shooting for the very, very top.
Possibly. I mean, there's been a lot of talk as well. I don't mean to sound negative in any way at all, but there's been a lot of talk this week, or the last couple of weeks really, about the court case that I think it's Mark Sexton and is it Michael Bernicia that are behind all this. And I mean, it does sound very promising on the one hand, but then again, I mean, they're trying to launch a case against, you know, the people that own the courts. Effectively, the people that are behind this own the courts. So I've never really had a lot of faith in anything being done in the courts to end this. Myself, you know, just that's my personal opinion.
Yeah. Well, while we're just talking about the UK situation, are you aware that Parliament is pushing through a new bill which will give them the right to overrule the judges?
No, I didn't know that.
All right. Well, look on my Facebook page and on my Telegram page, and you will find a petition about it to try to get it stopped. I don't know how much chance we've got. If they can get that through, then it doesn't matter what the judges think or how many of them we can get on our side.
But the judges and the politicians are all owned, aren't they, Jack?
Yes. I think there are a few judges that aren't owned. I think there were a few politicians that aren't owned. The vast majority are owned, and the ones at the top are most certainly owned, which is why they get to the top.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Can I read out a few comments? We've got them in coming in very fast at the moment. We've got one here from Kim Kingston Turner. She says, "Look at the links between Gates and those at the top. It's not far off the same thing. You can find who's behind everything up the pyramid, up to Vanguard and BlackRock. It stops there. It's just moved. It stops there and is closed off to all who have tried."
That's right, Kim. Yeah. We're not going to get much further up the pyramid than that. So let's destabilize it at the bottom.
Yeah. We've got a message here from Gabriella Crombie, and she says, "Good evening, Jack. Lovely to see you and Paul." Nice to see you, Gabriella. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
We've got another message here from Brigitte, and she says, "Because with arrests, they are needing to protect the families of those at the top and their downlines and lineages to stop the flow down of those patterns of control and divide." So I think that's it. She's talking about what we were referring to earlier, Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
And the possible trials and executions I've heard that have been taking place there allegedly. I think she was saying earlier that they have been happening. It can be validated, but a lot of the information is being suppressed for various reasons. So who knows? Who knows? Fingers crossed, eh?
I will just say, this is just my personal opinion now, for what it's worth, that, and I've said this before, if Guantanamo Bay was a bad place back in the days when they were banging up all the Islamic terrorists, then it's still not in alignment with our values if they're using it for other different people.
Well, I think that's where Trump comes into it. I think this is to do with Trump, the alleged trials and executions. I think this has been made possible during Trump's presidency.
Yeah, well, that was a stitch up, wasn't it?
Yeah, just a bit, yeah. We've got another message here from Brigitte. She says, "Rainer Fulmick International Court case has been received at the International Court in Canada and The Hague."
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah, that's good news.
Definitely.
I think there's another one from Brigitte, isn't there?
There's one there that I haven't read out yet about CERN.
Yeah.
When CERN tried to manipulate the future by inserting data to hold control and the enslavement programs running, they discovered that they could not interfere with the results into the future. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
Because we really would be all screwed then, wouldn't we, if that was the case?
Where does that information come from, maybe?
Yeah, we'd like to know where you're, if you can validate this information. Not that we're disputing it in any way. It's just it's always good to have evidence-based information.
As I keep telling Paul, that is Starfort stuff.
Well, but that's kind of different. That's just a little investigation into history,
Yeah.
something that we're discovering as we go. Then Brigitte said, in fact, what they found out was that whatever they tried to do, it was blocked as humanity was waking up into higher consciousness, and they can't change that. It could certainly explain the geoengineering, I suppose, couldn't it?
Yeah. What's Project Looking Glass, John?
I've heard of that. I've heard of it. Now I'm trying to remember Project Looking Glass.
Have you heard of that, maybe?
Yeah.
Or Tim? Or anyone?
Let's look it up quickly. Hold on. I've heard of it. Whether or not Google tells me about it is another matter.
Okay, Mabee said that her information comes from 2 whistleblowers who were working at CERN. Brilliant, yeah.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. As long as we can trust the whistleblowers, of course. Operation Looking Glass is the code name for an airborne command and control center operated by the US. In more recent years, it has been more officially referred to as the ABNCP. It's to do with nuclear missiles, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Could you fill us in, John? I think it was John who commented about Project Looking Glass. Could you elaborate on that for us? Because it's ringing a bell, but I can't quite remember what it was about at the moment. We've got some comments here from Keith Jackson. Hello, Keith. He says, too many screens on the go here. He says, the only thing the government can do is to change the laws. That can't be done according to the Magna Carta.
Okay, yeah, Bridget's just had to saying she has to go. So thank you very much for
Thanks for joining us, Mabee.
We'd love to have you actually come on with us one week. If you can do that, that would be lovely.
That would be lovely.
She's been on before, and yeah, it was lovely having you on there, and it would be lovely to have you on again. So let me know if you want to, and maybe when you get back home from your trip.
I think she left us with a very nice comment. She said, you need to bring into focus right now that the story and drama has to run its full course for humanity to awaken to a new level of consciousness. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
Yeah, that's something I've heard before. Again, it does sound a bit like conjecture to me. It's possible. Who knows? Who knows?
Love to you too, Mabee. Big love.
Yeah, this is kind of like the Q movement, I think, Jack. Did you follow the QAnon movement much?
No, I didn't. No. I mean, I'm going to upset an awful lot of people now who believed in it and who still do believe in it. But to me, it was another psyop.
I think
when people turn around, when any organization says you don't need to do anything, it's all being done for you.
Yep. And that horrible phrase, Jack, as well. Get your popcorn and watch the movie unfold. Hello. I thought you weren't coming on.
No, I won't be staying for long, but just wanted to honor both of you.
Lovely to see you.
Thank you very much.
So,
looking right.
Yes. So what I wanted to share with you is the Stargate. There has been a creation of a vortex of energy, and they wanted to prevent what we are right now undergoing, which is an awakening of humanity, which is a cosmological, it's so many different layers and levels. So what you're talking about is many different layers, but what is unfolding is beyond our grasp. It's so many different layers. So there has been a manipulation of that portal, vortex of energy. And because they wanted to prevent the awakening of humanity, because they know from the Mayan and the Incas and all the ancestors who have always been predicting that right now, well, it was meant to happen in 2012, and it's happening now because they cheated, and there has been other things, but they can no longer keep us enslaved. So that is the truth, because humanity is consciousness. There is a frequency that will not longer allow humanity to stay in enslavement. And the frequencies of energies are getting amped up and will prevent what they wanted to keep us, which is to keep this planet and humanity in enslavement. So yes, there's many loose ends right now, and some people are on the world stage, like Donald Trump is an archetype, and many other people are archetypes and are playing roles, including your prime minister and different people. They're on stage. But the ones who have been programming, including Rockefeller, Vatican, Bank of England, and many, many others, the ones at the top are already been taken down for the last 6 years. So this has been ongoing behind the scenes. I can validate that from my dreams, from some of the information I have received. But some of the information I've received is millions of people will leave the planet Earth. So that is a truth, and we are going to be witnessing that. So it means we have to stay with compassion.
Sorry, Brigitte, when you say that, are you referring to the is that why we're going to be losing lots of people?
Yes, and it started already, okay?
Yeah,
because what's going to happen is the systems of healing which have been unfolding for the last few decades are no longer valid, okay? We are not proposing healing. We are creating new diseases which are supporting a system that is not supporting humanity. So we are at the end of Pluto in Capricorn, which is going to be rolling for another year. And then Pluto will move in 2024 in the sign of Aquarius, which is the voice of the people. So we are at the end of a huge breakdown of what is not serving humanity. However, it is very painful for us to hold faith and trust that people like who you were talking about, those who are really at the top, like Klaus Schwab, who was from Alternative Information. I always listen to more. If I have 2 or 3, I know that it is truth. But I can't say that it is truth because I haven't seen them. And we can't see them because it's so many layers. But those as those at the top are being arrested, their minions are no longer going to be paid. Although they have orders and they are going to try and keep their orders and go to the very bitter end, but little by little, they will stop serving. So from what I've understood, they've got it all. So if we look at Donald Trump, who was president for 4 years, he's still behind the lines, he's still working, and many others are still working. Queen Romana Didulo from Canada is working, and many, many others are working behind the lines. This is the resistance, and this is a different community. So for the new community, which is what your book is about, Jack, for the new community to come in with solidarity, sharing our resources, sharing our gifts, our talents. The old community, which was based on fear, enslavement programs, it has to break down.
Yes,
And this
absolutely.
is where justice has to break down, because it was based on corruption, manipulation. Many have been, what's the word? Compromised at levels unprecedented. I'm talking about men and women at high levels in ministry, in constitution. I mean, the French constitution last week voted for the pass and for the vaccinations. So why are they doing that? If we invert that program, it's so that humanity sees that they have no power really, because what they are doing is totally incoherent. Now, if we can just see how incoherent the whole system is, then we're going to retake our power. It means people have to wake up. But because humanity has been so many decennies into manipulation at unprecedented levels, through television, through culture, through lowering the level of education in schools, in universities. I mean, the level, I see my granddaughters now, the levels of culture is so low compared to mine. They don't even think. That power to even think and think of, but this is incoherent. Last week I was given that information, and this week the same government is suddenly changing. Well, that's totally incoherent, but I can think through. But many are not. But there are very few of us that can think. So I just wanted to come and just give a little bit of that, because there is portals of energy. But if we remember, we are portals of energy. Each one of us. You, Paul, Jackie, each one of us here. Kim, Abigail, good evening. John, we each are portals of energies. But how do we use our portals? Do we use our portals to go down the rabbit holes? Or do we use our portals to absolutely, moment by moment, be authentic with whom we are? Hello, Abby. I'm only here for a short while. I'm cooking for my sister whose arm is damaged. So yes, back in the last century, definitely. So we have been hijacked. The hijacking has been going for thousands of years. What the crystals were meant to be offering into humanity when we were coming as seeds into this planet Earth, we were guardians of this planet Earth. But what happened is something took place which changed the crystals, which are in different places on planets. That's when I worked as a guardian, and I did my quantum certification a few years ago, about 10 years ago. And I realized that something had been warped, okay? And that ties up into what I have seen since I was a child. There was a warping. So like the medicine of spider was warped, okay? And there has been a spider who is taken over humanity, okay? And is creating.
Could I just ask you, Mallee, do you think that the pandemic was constructed so that we wouldn't experience the Great Awakening?
Yes.
It was.
And yes, and there's a different plan which is beyond my understanding, what I have never seen. I've always seen that humanity was being experimented upon, and not just humanity, animals, life has always been experimented upon for centuries and centuries. This is why I carry so much grief. But what is happening right now is going to collapse the experimentation on humanity. And for all the big CEOs, big injections, what what we're talking about. I don't know if I can use the word VAX, okay, which has been going on from like United States, 72 being done on day one on babies, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, we are talking about a brand new being with his soul, spirit, life force, immune system, being with some aluminium, mercury, already heavy metals. So we're already programming a brand new, beautiful being. And we, all of us, we are already programmed. There are very, very few beings who are absolutely pure. Okay? And many, many of us, many humans, many on this planet are ETs, are from other planets, okay, who have come to serve at this time. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been in the works for a long time, as B is saying. Maybe I'm just too stuck in logical thinking. Oh, it's good to have logical thinking, Kim, but we have two brains, and the circuits within the two brains, darling, have been damaged. And we have had so much fake information that we no longer know how to use and connect. But once we do a lot of trauma work on ourselves, and there are some videos which have been shared from beings from other timelines, so it clears a lot of those programs. Okay, so I could share those links. I think I've shared them with Jack, and if Jack was to share them with you, and you could use them to clear the mind, the brain, the blood, and the neurological systems, okay, then you would start having less fog in your mind, and you would be much more clear as to when you're picking up something. Then you would straight away have a gut reaction, or straight away we feel that you're no longer aligned, or you pick up that somebody is toxic or somebody's got toxic energy. So you would be then just moving back and just send compassion, love, and do a little bit of clearing on yourself. Okay, so I'm going to love you and leave you. Sorry, I've been speaking for a long time. I'm sorry. You need to stop me.
You're very, very welcome, Abby. Lovely having you here.
So I
I
don't
really
know.
mean that. Lovely having you here.
So
Thank you.
I bless you. And John, yes, some are called physical properties to accept the future. Oh, there were different possible timelines, all timelines. Yes, all timelines converge to a point, and that is in what they have found, what they created in CERN, which is a portal of energy. All the lines converge to one thing, which is the awakening of humanity, and the awakening of humanity with a higher frequency of consciousness, which is that no longer the frequencies will be so high, they will no longer sustain the dark forces.
So this is like the 5D ascension that Dolores Cannon talked about?
Yes. We have got to move into the fourth. So we must no longer be offering our energy into delving into the 3D. So you are delving into the 3D. The more of us stay in the 3D, delving in the 3D, the more we keep on nurturing and feeding that 3D. But the more of us absolutely go with the faith that, yes, those people have been arrested. Yes, they have been given different choices. Either you help us and you release names, and we will make sure that your name, your family, and your lineage will not be, put into the dirt. But you will be, all your assets will be frozen, and you will be giving your assets to humanity, back to humanity, because you owe that to humanity. Now, each country has its own story. Remember, France has its own story. England has its own story. Colonialization, etc. So we need to be conscious of what we have down our lineages, our ancestors have participated in perpetuating. And this is why it's so painful right now. Now, millions of people will leave the planet because the planet needs to shift onto a different level. Some of them because their contract is finished. They've done what they came to do. But some of them, it's because they did not honor their contract. And that seems to be aligned with the laws of the universe. Yes. So I love you. Blessings.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thanks for that, Mallee.
You're welcomed. And thank you for the work you're doing. And remember, we're moving. We're really moving. It's just painful, but we're moving. So stay in the power of the heart. And remember, open your third eye. And to open a third eye, you need to do some work on the pineal gland. So clear the pineal gland, which has been shrunk. Okay. So watch the toothpaste you use and
Tap
clean.
water. Don't drink the tap water.
Yeah, and
Filter
clean.
the tap water.
Yeah, but clean as well of heavy metals. Okay. Blessings. You know that already. That's your work. Blessings.
Thank you, Mallee.
Great to see you. Thank
Much
you.
love. Oh, that was a real treat.
It was, wasn't it? Very interesting. Never a dull moment. Food
So
for thought.
Mallee has rescued, I think, what was a dying show after my
No, I don't know, Jack. I thought we were doing all right, mate, to be honest. And we've had some good comments today as well, which we very much appreciate, don't we?
Yeah. I'm
So,
very, very sorry my auto cue packed up, though, because that was that was not planned. But we managed.
Yeah. And I'm open to all the information. At the end of the day, what Mallee was talking about there, I'm very open to it, and I'm never dismissive of it. So, and I think I might be right in saying that if we are open to this, then there's a good chance that it is happening. I think that's kind of what was being said. I could be wrong.
Thank you, Abigail. Love you too. That's what we need, is more love. People get hung up with this 3D idea of love. We need to move into a 5D concept of love. It's something to give, not something to crave, and it's something we should give freely to everyone. And if we can do that, then we can transcend up to the next level.
John, I should just say, John Waterfield has just said, and he's, I agree with this because I do it as well. He says, try writing your notes on paper, Jack. Low tech, less to go wrong.
Okay, John. Touche, mate.
Pad and paper is all you need.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and Kim as well. Kim has said something. She says, I'm open to it too, Paul, but I'm very far from understanding it all. And I'm totally on the same page there, Kim, which is why I'm so glad that I've come across Mallee and Juliet at Elders Wisdom, because that side of things, I've learnt so much over the last year that I've been watching them. And yeah, their information is very, very interesting. And quite often, even though perhaps I don't truly understand it fully, it resonates. A lot of it resonates with me. And I go a lot now on instinct and intuition. And I think those kind of things have been downplayed a lot in our society. But I think intuition and instinct is very important.
Yeah, Kim, I'll send you a link to the Elders Wisdom show on Wednesday, and hopefully you can come along on that. You'll learn a lot. That's Juliet and Mallee, Brigitte, the lady you just met, and they just blow me away every week. So there you go.
Yeah,
you'll love it. If you like this show, you'll love that show.
Words from the heart.
Absolutely, from the heart. And I don't say things just to hear my own voice. I say things because I feel them deeply inside. And yeah, those two ladies mean a lot to me, I'm afraid, a great deal to me. Beautiful, beautiful souls.
Okay, Jack. Well, I'm going to end it there for me because I was woke up in the middle of the night last night, so I'm very, very tired. Not for good reasons either. So yeah. So I'm gonna duck out now, mate. Okay, but we'll be back.
Yeah.
I'll be back next week.
Okay, Paul, but we've done our hour now anyway.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for making the effort.
That's all right, mate.
I knew you were in two minds about it, so thanks for making the effort.
That's all right.
And thanks for everybody who's come on and commented, and especially to Maybe, who actually came on with us. Anyone who wants to come on with us at any time, just send me a message, private
Thanks for all the
message,
great
and
comments.
I'll send you the link, because the more the merrier. So, good night, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Cheers.
Namaste.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.